Lesson 14, Finding Solutions to Inequalities in Context. So you have to solve negative x equals 10. And so whenever you have to solve something like this, you have to get this negative away from the x. So negative x is the same thing as saying negative 1x. So when you divide, you have to divide by negative 1 to get that x away from that negative. So when you do that, you end up getting x equals negative 1. And so two solutions to negative x is greater than 10. I have to divide by that negative 1 again. And so 10 divided by negative 1 is negative 10. But since I'm dividing by a negative and I'm using an inequality symbol, I have to do the opposite of what that symbol is. So if this is greater than, my answer will end up being less than. Okay? So now you have to solve 2x equals negative 20. So you have to divide by 2 to get negative 10. So x equals negative 10. And so again, two solutions to 2x is greater than negative 20. I have to divide by 2, but since I'm dividing by a positive, my inequality symbol stays the same. So it stays as a greater than sign. So x is greater than negative 10. So any numbers that are greater than negative 10 will be your solutions. And so Andre has a summer job selling magazine subscriptions. He earns $25 per week plus $3 for every subscription he sells. Andre hopes to make at least enough money this week to buy a new pair of soccer cleats. So you have to write an expression for the amount of money he makes this week. And so N represents the number of magazine subscriptions Andre sells this week. So you have 3 times the subscriptions, which is N. So 3 times N plus the $25 he makes per week. So 3N plus 25 is your expression. So for B, the least expensive pair of cleats Andre wants costs $68. So you have to write and solve an equation to find how many subscriptions. So you have 3N plus 25 equals 68. And then I subtract 25 because subtracting is the opposite of addition. So 68 minus 25 is 43. And so you have to bring down a 3N. And then I divide by 3 to get N by itself. So N equals 14 1/3 subscriptions that Andre needs to sell. So now, if Andre sold 16 magazine subscriptions this week, would he represent or would he reach his goal? Yes, 16 is greater than 14 1/3. And if you solve it, 16 times 3 is 48, and 48 plus 25 is 73. You will see that he made $73, which is more than enough to buy the cleats. And so you need to find some other numbers of magazine subscriptions Andre could have sold. And so that would be any number that is greater than 14. And so you have to write an inequality expressing that Andre wants to make at least $68. So at least would mean greater than or equal to. So your inequality would be 3N plus 25 is greater than or equal to 68. And again, you have N is greater than or equal to 14 1/3. So for number 2, Diego has budgeted $35 from his summer job earnings to buy shorts and socks for soccer. So he needs 5 pairs of socks and a pair of shorts. So the socks cost different amounts in different stores, and the shorts he wants cost $19.95. So X has to represent the price of 1 pair of socks. So you need to write an expression for the total cost of the socks and shorts. So you have the price of the socks times how many he needs. He needs 5, so 5 times X, which is 5X, plus the shorts that he needs, which is only $19.95 for 1 pair. So 5X plus $19.95 is your expression. So write and solve an expression that says that Diego spent exactly $35 on the socks and shorts So you have 5x plus 1995 equals 35. And then whenever I solve it, I subtract 35 minus 1995, which is 1505. And I divide by 5 to get x by itself. So x is going to equal $3.01. So Diego pays $3.01 for one pair of socks. And then now you have to list some other possible prices. So any price that's under $3.01 would be acceptable. And so your inequality would be x is less than or equal to $3.01 for Diego to spend on a single pair of socks. And so this less than or equal to will kind of be like at most. So like $3.01 is the most that he could spend on those socks. So Kyron, really don't feel like reading it out loud again. So for A, Claire wrote the inequality, negative 12x plus 100 is greater than or equal to 25, where x represents the amount Kyron takes out each month. What does negative 12x represent? So the difference in Kyron's account balance after 1 year. So that's what this represents, is the difference in Kyron's account balance after 1 year. And remember, 1 year is 12 months. And so you have to find the values of x. So you would have to basically solve this inequality. And so again, it's just like any other regular equation. So you have to subtract 100, which is like doing 100 minus 25, which is 75, but I'm doing a smaller number, subtracting a bigger number, so I'm going to end up in my negatives. And then bring that down, and bring that down, this symbol down, and then I divide by a negative number. So if I'm dividing by a negative number and I'm dealing with this inequality, I have to do the opposite. So I have to put the opposite of this inequality in my answer. So the opposite of greater than or equal to is less than or equal to. And 75 divided by 12 is 6.25. A negative divided by a negative is a positive. So Kyron needs to take out $6.25 each month in order to stay at least $25 in the account. So we could express this with x is less than or equal to something. And again, x is less than or equal to $6.25. And so now I have number 2. It says a teacher wants to buy 9 boxes of granola bars for a school trip. Each box usually costs $7, but many grocery stores are having a sale on granola bars this week. Different stores are selling the boxes of granola bars at different discounts. And so for part A, if X represents the dollar amount of the discount, then the amount of the teacher will pay can be expressed as 9 times X, 7 minus X. In this expression, what does the quantity 7 minus X represent? So that represents the price